What's happening, sports fans? Christian Pedersen.
Bodie De Silva.
Nailed it. I'm sad that I have to ask what's good with no Noah Laxina, but welcome to our segment, What's Good, where we're not going to be sad. We're going to be happy because we're talking about all things good in San Diego high school sports. And one of the things that's good is we have a new commissioner announced this week, Joe Heinz, the current head of the San Diego High School Sports Association. You should check out at SDHSSA on Twitter, on Instagram. They are the people that you know from the Spanos All-Star Game, the Volleyball All-Star Game, big advocates of coaching award. Like, he's a high school guy. He's a Chula Vista graduate. He is the Sweetwater director of athletics. Like, he's very tied into the South Bay. He's very tied into San Diego, and he's now going to be the new commissioner. So, Bodie, initial reactions to the selection?
Yeah, I know there were double-digit candidates from, I guess, technically around the country and mostly from Southern California. But I was glad to see them go with someone who really knows the landscape. He's been around, connected, obviously, as you said, within the High School Sports Association. So we don't know who the assistant will be yet, but I'm sure it'll be.
So they're just going to start the process right now of taking in applications again, re-interviewing. They wanted to have the new commissioner's input.
Yeah, and that makes sense. I mean, you want to make sure that they work well together. And but yeah, overall, I'm really excited about that hire, and we'll see what's he's got on his agenda for things he may want to change and improve and do stuff like that.
I completely agree with you. Knowing the landscape is great.
Yeah.
I will be curious, can a football guy fix football? And I know that might sound counterintuitive, but we hear so many versions of the playoff debate because we cover sports all year round that, you know, the water polo selection process is not applicable to the basketball selection process because there's different amounts of divisions. The soccer selection process is not comparable to the football selection process because the strength of schedules are not relevant and there's more games and there's less. Like, there is not a single cookie cutter answer to how all playoff seeding gets done.
Yeah.
So I will be curious. And this is just what has kind of formed in my mind is with so much focus on football seeding and divisions being one of the perceived, important parts of the commissioner's job. It's a guy who's already been thinking about this for X amount of years. The person to fix it, or do they need to get an assistant commissioner who's not a football guy, or does something just entirely radical need to happen, or is he the right guy? I'll be very curious about that. I do agree that that's, you look now at what is the agenda in the short-term process. If you have an open mic to him, but if I just put you in that room, what would be some things that you would highlight saying, like, look, in the short term, here's what the San Diego CIF section really needs addressed?
Yeah, something that I've seen, and I think it probably applies to basketball more than the other sports, but as the rankings have changed and the most recent rankings obviously go by your past year's performance, I've seen teams that are typically in Division 5 that may struggle because you get a public school like a Fallbrook that may have fallen to Division 5. And I'm curious if there's a way that they can cap an enrollment where Fallbrook, per se, could never fall, or another bigger public school could never fall below Division 4 to make sure that Division 5 stays at the teams that may be rebuilding at a much smaller enrollment level. That's the first thing that comes to mind. There's a few things, but that's something that I know I would prefer to see. It's not the biggest issue in the world, but that's something I've noticed. And
well, I think where my head's at maybe speaks to how tough this job is, because my mind immediately went to, we're having referee shortages in all sports.
Yeah, that's another really good call.
And there are games getting canceled. Yeah. There are league play that has to be all done Tuesday and Thursday of these 4 weeks because there are not enough lacrosse or field hockey or whatever it is referees. There's starting to be basketball games that are infringed upon that. And that is not something that has anything to do with a points rubric or a cap this or a competitive balance. That has something to do with the fundamentals of, this is just how we play the actual sport is we need the refs, coaches, facilities, and all that kind of stuff. I would say that is a huge thing. Number one is needing to address almost rebuilding the infrastructure of San Diego high school sports and making sure that we are not in a situation going forward where we do have oh, like this season got cut 2 games short, or this freshman football had to all be played on Wednesday and Thursday, or this JV football game couldn't, like that kind of stuff.
That's the way we're heading. I mean, from everything I've heard that way, and so
that kind of stuff needs to be addressed. I think taking the pulse of San Diego on championship events and really figuring out that is another step. Southwest, I think, is a perfect spot for football.
Yeah.
Basketball, we went from having it singularly focused to the last 2 years. This will be year number 2 now of a bit of a scattered version. Does that really work? Baseball seems to be one that's great at USD.
Yeah.
But again, you can't host it all there. So summer at UCSD. And just kind of, you know, they don't have the staff that the Southern section has to have 2 representatives at every one of those championships, always making this feel ornate and masterful. So maybe some of these need to be scaled back to put at one location and not necessarily rent and go out and get that big one, but help build up that identity that this is where you play, the way that forever Qualcomm was just, this is dope, this is where you play.
Yeah.
Qualcomm was very conveniently pretty centrally located. And there's not many championships that do that anymore. Moving everything down to the South Bay has made it harder to get a certain amount of fan bases to show up.
Yeah, if you have a North County team that's playing on a weekday night, I mean I know that would be a big issue to get down to Southwestern with Friday night traffic.
So it's that kind of stuff that to me, that's where if I was to make a very, very political reference, and your 100 days, FDR's 100 days Congress, kids, you learn something new every now and then. Go look it up. FDR for his 100-day Congress was that's when he had his window. If he controlled all of every government branch, let's just steamroll in the New Deal. Let's get this stuff built. See, brought that one full circle there. That's what I would want to see. I would just want to see a very aggressive first start to the year where, look, we'll get to transfers, we'll get to seedings, we'll get to all that kind of stuff, but no one's ever going to really be 100% happy with that. So let's not waste our time fighting that battle right now when we need to make sure that we have a way to generate, further versions of that. I would love to see, in terms of who the assistant commissioner would be, maybe that's where the non-football comes in. I don't necessarily feel comfortable throwing names around on this, but I would say that there are some names that I have heard who are non-football people that I would certainly love. Football people also. So, it'll be interesting to see who becomes that assistant commissioner. But just so you guys know, Joe Heinz, he will be taking over start of this summer. He transitions from Schneep to Heinz in the start of summer.
One season left as baseball gets going. So.
Yeah, so he'll have all of summer and then into the football season for the beginning of his thing. So Joe, Mr. Heinz, Mr. Commissioner, congratulations. We look forward to seeing what high school sports looks like under your tenure. Bodie, any closing remarks?
No, the last thing I'll say on the referees, as you brought up, I think baseball, from what I've heard, has struggled the most with having officials just not want to do it anymore. And I think the biggest thing there is you get a home plate umpire that takes a lot of abuse from the parents. And I think that's just a big thing on, hey, we want to make sure you get the best.
Well, that's a different caveat. I was just more speaking to the actually having numbers of it and not having people walk away.
No, I agree there. I just think the biggest thing is you want to make sure the best ones are doing it. They're all trying to do their job. I just hope this baseball season improves when I'm out at games that the abuse of the home plate official is not as bad as I've seen in recent years.
There you go. Parents, don't be dicks. Talk to you in a few minutes with another What's Good. Aaron Berg and Full Time Hoops coming in.
Yep.